Horse the Profits is proud to be sponsored by Game of Silks. Go to silks.io to get in the game. Real ownership, real races, real rewards.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are here on an important topic this week. We are coming off of the kickoff of the major Kentucky Derby preps for 2024. And there's a major standout horse here that we're going to talk about here. Tim did a little video last week on this topic as well. This is about the Bob Baffert Effect. And let's just jump right into it. But Tim, first of all, thanks for joining. And I know you went in depth on the Baffert situation last week, the suspension and the effect that it has on the Kentucky Derby trail, the point series, everything like that. But Tim, first of all, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. Always happy to join and discuss horse racing, but Kentucky Derby especially. And you can't talk Derby this year without talking Bob Baffert.
Exactly. And I think I don't think anybody's going to disagree with this. The standout of the weekend was Nysos, who is a Baffert horse, clearly. So, Tim, what do you think happened? What do we see this weekend? And how's it going to impact the Derby trail from here?
You know, we saw what to me so far has been the most impressive horse, that performance by Nysos. I think a lot of us thought highly of Nysos. Whether you like Bob Baffert or not, here's the thing, and I'll just say this up front before we go any further. We're not standing up for Bob Baffert, anything he's done in the past, defending him, saying we're Bob Baffert fanboys. We're not speaking out against him either. What we're looking at here is we're looking at the facts of the biggest 3-year-old race of the year as horse racing fans who follow this sport, love this time of year, look forward to the Derby. And when you're looking forward to the Derby, you want the best horses in the race. And unfortunately, from what I saw this past weekend, the best horse was a standout. But, you know, that's not the only one we got to think about here. So if you're really looking at all of the Bob Baffert horses, I think you got to start here with what his horses have done to this point. So if you look at the races up to now, back in the American Pharoah, which was one of the early Derby points races, Bob Baffert had the 1-2 finishers. Muth in first, Wind Me Up in second, 10 points and 5 points respectively. Then you have what is the biggest race of the year for the 2-year-olds in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And Muth again, there's Muth again, 15 points, second place finish, nice second to Fierceness in that race. And fifth in that race was another Bob Baffert horse, Prince of Monaco, which was a good race and a horse that still looks to be targeting some of the preps ahead. And I'm looking forward to see what that horse is ready to do in his 3-year-old year. Then the Los Alamos Futurity earlier in this year. And this race was, a lot of people called it the Bob Baffert Invitational. I mean, if we're going to call it what it is, I mean, the guy, obviously he has lots of horses and he put lots of horses in the big races. But look, you can put as many horses as you want in the race, but if it's bringing in good horses and your horses are still winning, it's not necessarily about numbers. But he finishes first, third, and fourth there. Another 10 points to a winner in Winstock. Another good horse that Bob Baffert's got in his barn. And then just this past weekend, as we were just alluding to, you had the Robert B. Lewis, and you had what to me so far, and that includes all of the 2-year-old races, the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, any maiden special weight performances we've seen by a 2-year-old last year or a 3-year-old this year, you had the most impressive performance in Nysos. That horse wins by comfortable lengths, gear down. And here's the thing that most impressed me, Ombre, is that was a professional ride. Okay, that was a professional performance. It takes 3-year-olds a little bit of time sometimes to really get into the rate. And one thing that you don't see them do very well is rate. And that was an impressive rate by a 3-year-old horse in his first 3-year-old race of the year. And the way he did it, and when he hit the jets and the acceleration and the way he took off, I just thought it was very professional. That was a heck of a race by a heck of a horse. So 20-point winner there in the Robert B. Lewis. And then again, second place, there's Wind Me Up again. Look at these races. 3 races, Wind Me Up has been in the points.
And you can say what you want about Wind Me Up. And I think it's, we can get into it further another time, but Wind Me Up is a true, I don't know, he's a horse that's scoring points. He's probably going to make the gate if his health allows. He's getting the points, or he would have. So this is, no matter what you're going to say, the very minimum you can say here to me is 3 to 6 Derby contenders that Baffert is, has in the stable that aren't eligible. And I've seen a lot of comments, and I wanted to clarify too, Tim. A lot of people think, oh, they can just move them to the Yak Team barn. This has passed. The deadline passed. They bumped up the deadline. I believe it was last month, or I'm sorry, Tim. Maybe what was the date where they bumped the deadline from the end of February to the end of January?
On January 12th.
Yeah, so
they gave them 17 days when they did it.
Less than a month ago. So I mean, and again, all these ownership groups, the connections, they all know what they're getting into with Baffert, with the suspension and all that. We understand that. But I would like to know, like, with the deadline being bumped back a month, the way Nysos ran, and like you said, the Robert B. Lewis, he was geared down. The horse was bored to tears with some of the other best of the California crop, which we know the California crop is not an amazing crop this year outside of Nysos, but I think Nysos is the best 3-year-old of this crop by far so far. I mean, it's early, but maybe the Nysos group looking at this a little bit differently. And if they had another 2 or 3 weeks to decide to move them to the move Nysos to the Yak Team barn or another barn, whatever, I wonder if they would change their mind, because this does look like a potentially special horse. The rest of these horses, potential gate, horses that can make the gate and maybe make some noise, but Nysos stands out to me as the best of this crop so far. And it's like you said, it's disappointing to know that he's not going to make the field, not going to make the gate, and it's not going to change for those of you guys that were putting in the comments about, he could still move. That's past. It's over. So I'm interested, Tim, that moving the deadline back, do you think that impacted it? Because I do. I think Nysos, maybe his ownership group, maybe or maybe not, they would have rethought this and sent him, to a different barn to be eligible. It's not happening this year, though.
That's right. And it's hard to know for sure, but looking at it and looking at the short timetable they had, I'm not sure they had a lot of time to really discuss it and think about it and look at the options and really weigh the whole process out. So I think they made what they thought was the best decision for them. Look, there are a lot of people out there commenting that, oh, the owners knew what they were getting into. They made their bed. They can sleep in it. They chose to stay and not move their horses over. They're not doing it because of this reason in Baffert or that reason in Baffert, which we won't get into. Look, I'm not arguing any of that. I just want to see the best horses race in the Kentucky Derby. And, you alluded to horses in the field. So let's look at a couple more things real quick. So here is the total of what we just talked about. So if you look at total points, Muth has 25 points right now. Nysos has 20. Wind Me Up has a solid 17 points. Winstock at 10, and then those other two have 3 points, but they're both pointed to other races, and I think are clearly going to get more points.
Prince of Monaco is very capable, very high end. We'll see again, but I mean it's pure speculation. But that's another horse. I think he's got 2 or 3 really solid Derby horses to me. Go ahead, Tim. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. And please jump in anytime. I totally agree with you. Look, here's why I say what I say about Baffert. Anybody that knows and has listened to me in the past, I'm not a Baffert apologist. I'm not a Baffert fan, so to speak, but I'm not going to hate on the guy for whatever, everybody can have their opinions and what's going on in the sport, but make sure you're looking at all the trainers and all the sport and what's going on across the board if you're going to do that. But here's the thing. And a lot of people may not understand this. When they set the Derby points up and the points for 1st through 5th place, when Nysos finishes first and takes these 20 points, that means that the horse that finishes behind Nysos does not get the 20 points. They just go away. So if you look at the bottom here, 78 Derby points have lost right now. If you look, hombre, at the top 20 right now, the Kentucky Derby starting gate is 20 horses, and there's a lot to be decided. There are a lot of points races left. I get it. Yeah, but let's look right now. The bottom of it is 3 points. So by taking all these points out and spreading everything else out, you're really impacting what is going to be the Derby field. So I see a lot of people putting out these lists as to the top horses right now. Well, what would that look like with Baffert? Let's take a look. So just your top 10 horses, 3 of them would be Bob Baffert horses. You'd have Muth in 3rd, Nysos in 5th, and you'd have Wind Me Up right there in 10th place. So if you look at that list, Pletcher would have 2 on there, but no other trainer would have more than 1 horses, and Bob Baffert has 3. Now, if you go down to 20, now you're adding in Wind Me Up, because the bottom would now be 10 points and not 3 points. There would be a group of horses at 10, and you'd be kicking out horses that we just put in our top 10.
Yeah, and listen, like if you think if these horses highlighted as Baffert horses here on this list, if you think they're done scoring points, you're crazy.
No
because
way.
they're going to go win the Santa Anita Derby. They're going to win a lot of points in between. I don't know if somebody was talking to me earlier this week that, well, if he doesn't send them outside of California, then we'll know that Baffert doesn't really trust in them. And it's like, I don't think, because they're not eligible for the Derby and because they're not points eligible, why would he send them outside of California is my argument, because he's just going to keep them as long as they can through this, maturity process that a 2 and 3 year old goes through. But man, I would say we're going to lose 2 or 3 horses. And by the way, this isn't the first year of this. Last year, how many horses went the Yak Team? 3 or 4 horses, I believe, moved barns. 3 or 4 of the best horses in the Derby going in. And the year before, I believe it was a couple more too, because it was, kind of a reactionary thing 2 years ago. And then last year it was kind of a planned thing. This year, they moved the goalposts on that deadline and extended the thing. I mean, to me, the whole thing about this that sucks, and like you said, I'm not a Baffert supporter either. I've been a Baffert hater on here in the past. And I'm going to sit here and I'm going to defend the guy for one thing. If you send me to prison for, bank robbery or something, and you say, hey, as soon as your 10 years time is served, you can be a free man, you're out. You did your thing, you robbed the bank, and you served your 10 years, and after that you'll walk. Fine. And that's what they're doing to him, except they're moving the goalpost at the last minute here, and they're holding the ownership and the people who put faith in him to train their horses all at hostage. It's crap, dude. It's garbage. You don't see this in like a major sports league like the NFL or NBA, or I'm sure somebody can put in the comments, yeah, you do, blah, 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 like, and put up one example or whatever. But to me, like, you cannot waver on rules. You set rules, you set penalties, and this and that. And again, I'm not defending Baffert. In many ways, I hate Baffert. And I've really been harder on him in the past than I am right now, because I actually feel sorry for the connections that are, kind of getting effed over on this deal. I don't feel sorry for Baffert. The guy's got $1 zillion, and he is the best of all time, whether you like him or not. But I mean, come on, guys. Like,
you know who I feel
they
sorry
gave him
for?
a penalty, and he's not serving his penalty. He already served his penalty. Go ahead.
I agree. No, I totally agree with that point, and you're absolutely right. I do not like the extension. I don't know why they did it. Maybe they were trying to save face. You got to remember, Churchill Downs' image wasn't the best last year after the Derby going into it. Wait, they didn't have a year last year. They moved everything to Ellis, right? Why did they do that? And right as they do all of that, now they throw down an extension. Is that a face-saving mood? Is that a let's okay, look over here. Don't watch the man behind the curtain. What was it? So we don't know. But here's the thing. You know who I feel sorry for in this whole thing? You, me, horse racing fans.
Exactly.
Because we do not get to see the best race, the best horses in the Kentucky Derby, because feel about the guy how you feel about him and whatever is going to happen. Do you think if Bob Baffert was in this race and won the race, his horse is not undergoing the most close scrutiny of any horse that's ever won the race? Bring it on. Let's see it.
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. I want to see the best horses. I want to see these horses go head to head. I don't want to see 5 of the best horses taken out of the field and the field weakened. And yes, we'll still see a good race and we'll enjoy it. And the unfortunate thing is Churchill Downs will still be packed. The tickets will sell. The people will be there. The impact isn't to them. It's to all of us. It's to the horse racing fans. And that's we love this game and we just want to see it. People say that you may not care about the horses if you're a Baffert fan. I don't agree with that. If I'm a horse fan and I care about the horses, I want to see the best horses in the race.
Yeah, and unfortunately, Tim, we're in a rare spot. Okay, so horse racing is a rare commodity or a rare, spectacle. Because, all right, take the Super Bowl, for example. And yes, the Super Bowl is 100% the most widely watched football game of the year of any level, times 100. But guess what? The NFL still on a weekly basis has millions and millions and millions of viewers every week, in and out, millions of fans for every franchise. Horse racing is different. So, and I can tell you this factually from looking at my YouTube channel numbers for sure. So, like 33% of our entire viewership for the whole year comes in the 4 to 6 weeks leading up to the Kentucky Derby. Because why? Horse racing fans care about horse racing 12 months of the year, 52 weeks a year, 365 days a year. But on that week, 2, 3, 4 weeks leading up to the Derby, guess what? General public guy starts getting involved because he sees, oh, the Kentucky Derby's coming up, blah, blah, blah. They start hearing, pitter patters of it on the Sports Center. Somebody mentions something about Baffert or whatever. And again, Baffert's a huge deal to this industry, whether we like it or not. But those 4 weeks this is the opportunity for horse racing to take it to the next level, whether we like it or not, is the Kentucky Derby. And CDI, damn you for everything they do, because it's the worst run, corrupt garbage I've ever seen on so many levels. I can get into it later. And if you want to contact me, anybody at CDI, please, I will have a open forum meeting with you, with our subscribers and anybody else, and you can beat me down and defend yourself. But it's ridiculous. It's the worst run organization in all of sports. But listen, that is the weekend where all matters. And you're right. I don't think the sad part is, Tim, that the Kentucky Derby, when it comes around, 80% of the fringe fans or the once a year gamblers on horse racing guys, they don't even know who Nysos is, but they might miss out on something special. We saw what Flightline was something special in the Breeders' Cup Classic a couple years ago. We've seen it 100 times in the past. It
How
sucks.
do you do in the Derby?
Yeah, exactly. So, this is what we're dealing with, and we know it. And I just don't understand. Horse racing is the biggest industry that works against themselves more than anybody. And you've seen it in like the NFL. The NFL was their own worst enemy for several years there. They've corrected a lot of it.
Right.
It's not perfect. And it's a lot of different sports, huge conglomerate sanctioning bodies do well, and they have their downtimes where things are going real sideways. Like the NFL with the, they got a huge problem on their hands with the brain injuries and all of that. It's a huge problem. It could end the NFL, but guess what? They're taking steps, their protocols, this and that. Horse racing just continues to shoot itself in the foot. CDI does not allow channels like us to promote them. They change the rules mid-game like this. It's just stupid. That's my opinion. I'm sorry. CDI is the worst in the industry for sure. And I got no allegiance to anybody else. And either Tim, I know you don't either. We are fans of the game. That's the beauty of our channel, is that we don't have allegiance to anybody. And it just sucks that the fans suffer, like you said, man. Because this horse, and maybe the horse is not special, but right now it looks like this is the best horse. And if you could see the next Secretariat, and again, it's a long shot that he's even the best out here. We're going to put on a Secretariat performance. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that we are at the risk of missing something like that because, Joe Blow up in the booth has made a decision that we all have to live with.
That's right. And, one thing I would ask everybody before we close out is, look, leave a comment and tell us what you think. But let me ask you one thing. Take the emotion out. Take the opinion of Baffert out. Look at this objectively and tell me, don't you want to see the best horses in the race? Forget about your perspective on that. And don't tell me what you think he's doing to horses or not doing to horses. You have no facts in that matter. And you don't know whether or not it's being done to others.
We all know the accusations too.
Exactly. We're not even going there. We're talking about wanting to see the best horses in the race. What do you think?
Exactly. Yeah. We're not trying to stir up drama here either. It just, for us, the point of these videos, and the last video that Tim posted last week got a lot of engagement, and it's because it is a topic that people, they feel strongly about, either one way or the other. And yeah, please feel welcome to express your opinions. And if you think, the decision was correct, fine. We don't, but if they would have gave him a 10-year suspension or a lifetime ban, I would have been fine with that. Just stick to your guns, man. You cannot change the rules mid stretch, especially the way it's working out this year is really unfortunate for the NISOS connections and all that. But in
Absolutely.
any case, Tim, thanks for all the research and everything, man. It's going to be fun. I mean, the Derby, I do feel like the Derby prep is a little bit marred this year, and it has been in the past. But in the past, we did get to see the better horses get transferred to the Yak Teen barn. And for whatever reason, everybody decided against it this year. I don't know whether it was the deadline move. I don't know whether it was because just allegiance to Bob. And a lot of people are standing behind Bob, even people who haven't in the past.
That's right. They are.
And I think we're on that team too. Like, we're not Bob Baffert, apologists, like you said, but I mean, come on, guys. What do we do? Changing the rules here? It's just silly. Let's keep moving forward, though. We're going to focus on the positives. The California crop looks pretty weak without Bob, though. And it always has, and it probably always will, until Bob's too old to continue as the greatest of all time, But until then, it is a shame to have the situation. Tim, anything else to close it out real quick?
No, not at all. I would just like to move forward and continue watching the preps and watching the horses run and just talking about the horses. So let's take this other conversation aside and just talk about which are the best horses. If they happen to be his, fine. If they're not, if his horse comes out and decides to come out for one of the big 50-point races and gets blown away and we see better horses, then I'm all for that too. But let's let them see each other race before we make the determination and just throw it out based on some opinions.
Yep, and that very well could happen. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We've got all of the race replay videos coming up. We've got pre-race pick 5 videos. We've got doubling down. We've got full field rundowns. We've got all types of videos, pedigree videos. Please like and subscribe. We appreciate it. The channel continues to grow every day, which is cool to see. But yeah, we're here. We're here for opinions and engagement and to grow this industry. So thanks again, everybody, for tuning in, and peace out.